So now we're in the basement of the same building where you think it's just upstairs as offices
We'll start from there.
and manufacturing. But and so this building was here when you chose to move into it.
It was just completed. It was a brand new building, and I rented one floor for the offices, and the basement it was for warehouses that we converted into workshops here, and they bring the raw materials, the aluminum. The aluminum arrives in sheets that are foiled and calibrated to a particular thickness. For instance, you can see where we were cutting the platters.
Right. Those are turntable platters.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is our 5-axis water jet, which does the cutting. It's an American machine made at a company called Omax. The beauty of the machine is that it actually has a tilting head, so we can compensate for taper, because when you're cutting, it deflects the cutting stream, and the surfaces are not perpendicular. Here on this machine we can compensate for that.
It must be very noisy when that thing is running.
And the water comes out at supersonic speed, so that's even noisier.
Yeah.
The nozzle. You usually operate it with the nozzle submerged.
And this
is a flat grinder, so that you can get the panels that are cut. They go through this machine, which has 2 grinding belts and a brush on the back to give you the finish on the flat panels.
after it's machined.
After it's cut, it goes here to get you the brushed finish.
Okay.
And the bead blasting for cleaning the smaller part.
Right.
Getting the satin finish on the front panels and so on.
So you get a big sheet of glass, and then you cut out the pieces you need.
Yeah.
Your education wasn't in this stuff. So you had to learn all this stuff, or you found people.
I was sitting on the beach reading a book, and the book I was reading was Surface Treatment and Processing of Aluminum Alloys.
I read that myself. It's fantastic. The sex scenes are insane. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So people were really looking strange at me. This is the multivac facility. They actually started copying some of my stuff. This is where all the stainless steel and other bits are done. They are my neighbors. And, because we process only aluminum in my facility.
Right.
This is our warehouse for finished product and for materials and for my other activities. And this is precision machinery, as you can see now in action. We're selecting the tool that is going to use. So you're not going to be seeing much.
Yeah.
At the moment the machine is producing those parts, which is the suspension system for the iron bore mounting. This is produced from a round bar stock. It's milled, then it does all the threads, holes, then it comes out ready. This goes then to the anodizing and it's done. He's programming some other parts. So he's programming there is the module for the power amplifiers. So this machine is doing all the platform. The vacuum clamping system, and then the machine starts carving in the panel.
And that's a panel. What panel is that?
This is a top panel for some of the products. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe something that we're doing for somebody else.
Yeah.
This one. Start doing the front panels of the turntable. The machine is calibrated.
And when you breathe in these metal parts, it makes you more manly? Is that what happens? And how do you clean this thing out?
It actually evacuates all the
Automatic. Thank God.
And there is also gun with a compressed air and liquid that just washes the whole thing with oil. You see, this is filtering paper. So all the liquid comes in, it's filtered and recycled and pumped through the nozzle there. And this is the compressors that keep up the air supply. This is the Helix extraction system that keeps up the air clean.
And so this is the thing that you see all this, and that's when you read these idiots online saying, I know the parts cost of what that costs. Yeah. They don't understand what goes into it.
Yeah, this is a 400,000 euro machine.
Right.
It weighs 12 tons. We actually get to demolish the wall to get them in.
Wow. And rebuild the wall. Wow.
You're looking at over €1 million worth of machinery.
Yeah.
All the parts come in from the water jet, so the flat sheet would go in there, then they will be cut to size for the different things that we're going to make. And each one of those plates goes to the corresponding machine and it's converted into a part for the, this is the tops for the amplifiers.
And that's all scrap down there.
And this is scrap parts. So inside there are magnets that provide the anti-skating. You see with this thing. This thing has an embedded magnet, and there are magnets also on the inside. The skating force. So as you can see, this thing locks into a certain position.
Right.
And if I rotate this, it follows. So you adjust the anti-skating range within the range of the grooves of the...
By turning that.
And as soon as you go out, you have no anti-skating.
Interesting. That's really...
You don't see the mechanism, but it's all built in, and the distance between the magnets defines the
Sure, the force. Yeah.
Then the bearing, the horizontal bearing, is low. It's here. The vertical bearing is here on top, but actually this is the vertical bearing, so it's at the same position as the needle, at the level of the record.
Yeah.
So when the tonearm moves up and down on a warp record, the vertical tracking force doesn't change because the counterweight sinks underneath the bearing, and it also changes the weight proportion accordingly. And also the different arm ones, different lengths, 9-inch and 11-inch, 282 and 239 millimeters.
And this is made out of?
This is ebony.
Wood. And who machines this?
Local luthier that makes musical instruments, and we got him to make the arm ones for us.
And is that wood seasoned anyway, or is it?
Yeah. For musical instruments, it's usually
So it's the same wood that he would use.
for the carbon fiber. So it's a few different diameters of carbon fiber tubes that are stuck together in order to get the. This is light and strong.
Yeah.
This one is unidirectional. So the carbon fibers run only in one direction.
Right.
So this thing is very stiff in one direction and super brittle in the other. And the combination of those creates a composite structure that we dump internally with some aluminum.
So this
parts.
thinner diameter goes inside that.
Тук трябва да влезе.
And then what do you put in between those two? They just sit in there together. And
They sit in there together, and there is some glue and another damping
in between.
compound.
Yeah.
And there is then Teflon tubing because this is conductive. So it prevents the buildup of static thing, but we need a Teflon tubing to insulate the internal wires in case this creates any potential.
Yeah. So
How many parts go inside one of those tonearms?
ask him whether 20 years ago he imagined he'd be sitting building tone arms for record players.
Преди 20 години представяш си, че някога ще се занимаваш с това, да правиш.
Имал съм грамофон от малък ден, но не съм и предполагал, че ще дойде време.
He's been fixing turntables since a kid. So he's always been into that, but never imagined that he would actually be making anything.
Especially now.
Това са противотежестите отдолу. Това представлява. Тук се слага
So
рубер.
that is this part. Is this?
No. This.
Oh, I see.
Значи,
Through there, I see.
yes.
I see. I see. And that's the camp. Oh, I see. I see. I see. Okay. And that's the fine adjustment.
Yes,
of it.
fine.
Right.
Fine adjustment.
Okay.
This is Byron.
That's the horizontal bearing.
This is
The magnet
smile
or
bar.
small bearing.
Yes.
Where is that and what's that for? That's the mount.
This. Аз
I see. Okay. And just like that, you have a tone arm.
We just finished.
They've got a monopoly on the tone arm business pretty much.
Well, they're actually good quality. They vary. They vary from batch to batch, so that everything has to be remachined
Right.
to fit in our assembly.
And it all gets done on this little thing right here.
Those are the different weights of cartridge mounting plates. This is a brass gold plated that is about 2 grams heavier than the aluminum one. So if you have a very light cartridge, you would mount the heavier mounting plate, and on the heavier cartridges, you would use the lighter.
And that way you don't need to have a wider range of counterweights.
Because if the counterweight goes too far back, it starts to flex.
Sure.
You get the glass that you saw that was cut downstairs. We send it to a facility that tempers it. So it's tempered glass. Once it makes it back, it's mounted in the front panel. And then the front panel, together with the side, is assembled into the main frame, where we mount the suspension system.
Right.
And this is where the -K is mounted. So when assembled, it looks like this. This is prior to mounting the -K. So
Okay, so this is you're showing us the bearing system now. So
this is the bearing of the turntable. It's a machine from steel. It's hardened then with inductive ovens, and then they put it on a special grinding machine that produces a tolerance of 5 microns. So it's actually quite precise. So there is absolutely no movement whatsoever. And this thing supports the bowl.
So there's a ball inside of there.
Ceramic ball bearing, yeah.
Okay.
And we assemble the platter around this.
And that attaches to inside the
To
chassis.
the different parts of the platter. It's a
Yeah.
compound platter from multiple parts, and they attach to this. We'll pull the platter now, and
Okay.
you can have a look. Just get rid of the belts. So this is the platter system.
Oh, so there's the bearing in
the bearing.
place.
It's embedded in the platter. The ceramic bowl is inside. It's I don't know if you can see it there.
Yeah, good actually. Yeah.
And this is the platter system. Inside there is also lead shot,
And this is bonded to.
this is a special material that we buy from the car industry. It's rubber with fibers for damping to give us more or less the same impedance as vinyl.
And that you would hear that's a thin little surface to this.
Yes.
Which is that's an.
This is a
composite
plastic.
Yeah.
And then it's a aluminum base.
So this is 2 pieces here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the way that they interconnect it actually isolates the noise from the belts getting into the platter.
And how difficult is it now to pull the
Well, there is a special
O-ring?
to
There's
do
a little
that.
tool to pull
Yeah,
it
you
out.
need to go and get
Okay. Okay. So this goes right inside
Yes.
the turntable, and it's a leaf spring based thing. Or this looks like it's got a coil spring.
The coil springs are compensating the force for the weight, but actually the effect is done from the leaf springs. You're just pushing them together to define the force at which they would collapse. The idea is to use the collapse spring effect.
And this is invented by a very smart man.
Those guys are geniuses.
Yeah. The motor's in place at that point.
Motor is in place, it's wired to the back. And
What does this weigh at this point in time? This is pretty heavy.
45 kilos.
45 kilos. Well, it's very heavy.
All the aluminum parts are anodized downstairs. Only the stainless steel parts are actually outsourced to another laser cutting facility. And then the controller and table are put together. We put in the serial number, and then we do the speed check. For the speed check, we use two different tools. One that you're familiar with.
Yes.
And also the laser tachograph from Sutherland.
And now,
Then the speed is programmed depending on the ratio between the pulley and the platter and the thickness and batch of the belts. Usually from when we boot it up, it's within 0.5%, and we just need to adjust it
now
specifically for this.
can the user at home adjust the speed too, or no? Or is it?
In theory, yes. In practice, we avoid them to do that because most people will set it wrong. They have really crappy tools,
Yeah.
and we
And
prefer to guarantee that.
If the belt has to be changed, then you'd have to really reset the speed, though.
Yeah.
So who does that?
It's done with a USB interface on the back of the controller. You connect your PC, and you just change a number. It's a 4-digit number, so we're adjusting it within 1,000th of the RPM.
And so that's something you don't want the end user to deal with until he needs to, and then
Yeah.
you would tell him.
If he needs to replace the belts, there is a reason for it, so it's better for somebody to actually check it and see what's happening.
Right. Okay.
We provide the tool to the dealers and show them how to do that.
I see. And that's why it's important to have a dealer network when you sell a product like this.
It needs the support because, as you know, you have to adjust the floating of the tone arms. You have to adjust the floating of the -K. It makes a 120-pound table feel like a couple hundred grams. Everything needs a bit of service. At the moment, it's too late
Right.
because it doesn't have a record on top of it.
Right.
And as soon as we put a record in,
And it's that sensitive that a record. Does it matter how heavy the record is? If it's a 180 gram or a 120 gram, shouldn't.
you can feel that there is slight differences between the weight of the records.
Yeah. Still. And then there's a knob in the back. It's just like the one I've got on mine.
This one will be mounted with a second tone arm. I'll get the guy to move the Kuzma
Right.
on this one so that you can have two tone arms.
Now, when you have something like a big heavy Kuzma on one side and this on the other side, how do you balance it so that it's level?
It's actually quite strong. The suspension system is 16 kilos of pull force, so it shouldn't make much of a difference. And those things can be made in aluminum or brass to compensate for the weight
I
difference.
see.
So when we get the order for the different arm boards, we can anticipate what's going to happen.
Okay, so if a customer decides to change his tone arm and calls the dealer, and the dealer says, I need another arm board, and then contacts you, how long can you turn it around and get it to him?
If it's something that we've done, 2 days. If it's something new, we need to produce a new model of the arm board, machine it, anodize it, and send it. But it's quite quick because it's all done here.
Yeah, and you keep a database of tone arm.
Yeah. For now, we've done Kuzmas, we've done SMEs, SAT, and different lengths of Schröders, and we're doing an Ikeda now.
And this is where you put your spare needles, like when you change a needle.
This is just decoration.
I know.